us. Gotta get rid of
Okay, after much hijinks, I think I have something that could work here.
Good.
Michael?
Yes,
Just
that is good.
making sure you can hear me.
Yes, I hear you.
That would be my next challenge. Oh my gosh, they can't hear me.
I hear you. I hear you just fine. Okay. China increased tariffs is your guess on the volatility. Could be, Todd. All right. So, on the day, we made 6 ticks on the euro. We lost 7 ticks on gold. We made 4 ticks on the ES. That put us at 17.5 positive. Did not get the goal for the day, but we did attempt, and we took 8 whacks at it, not 7. We're at 1750, first day of the month, averaging 1750 per day. I think that this is supposed to be here. Equals that one, I think. Okay, so on the year now, $9,371.25. That's over 59 days, and that's an average of $158 per contract per day. Okay. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take the free trial with us, go to the home page here at cfrn.net. And right up here at the top, it says sign up for the CFRN live training room. 100% free trial. User indicators learn our strategy. Click here. There. When you click there, you are brought to this page. On this page, all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Hit that submit button, and you will be sent a confirmation link. Confirmation link. Okay? You must click on the confirmation link. If you don't click the confirmation link, you will not get a free trial. Okay? Because we don't know that you took the free trial until you click that confirmation link. All right? All right. With that, I believe it is now possible. Okay, David.
What was your recap?
I'll take care of that right now. Today it took us 8 trades to get positive. We did not get the goal for the day today.
Okay. But
Plus
you only had 2 hours.
Yes. Yeah, we had some good opportunity during the break that we missed. And I did miss some winning trades as well. And David, I'm doing that for you right now. Copy.
Are there any unanswered questions in the chat box?
No. No, there are not.
Well then, you know what I got to say about that?
What? Ding.
I'm sorry that I had computer problems this morning. As you've seen from emails, I think I'm in negotiations to have a new one built.
Mm-hmm.
They don't build them as cheap as they used to.
The CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Here's Dwayne. You might want to check your mic. We can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, there you go. The old butleroo. I gotta send Sean to the email. It's really the best best offer I got so far around this time on the new computer. The young man says that I should either A, go to Newegg and order all the parts, because I know what parts I want, and then once I have the parts, he will come and he'll put it all together, lickety split, in a very professional manner, because that's just how he does things, and he'll charge me $100. So we're talking $100 over the cost of parts, which is pretty good, I'm thinking.
That does sound pretty good.
Parts aren't cheap. And some parts work together better with other parts than others. Okay, so there goes John's invitation off in the email. And we might actually get on track here momentarily, as they say. Gee, many crickets were on. Following what a weekend. Following what a week last week. Oh, what day is it? It was on first. They took my remote. You don't take a man's remote. No. Here you go. Stream. Okay. Thank you very much. Now somebody's going to call me. Oh, there's John. He's in. Okay. Can you open John's mic?
I can.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Oh, you know what? He was probably calling to say he didn't get the email yet. Because the email just went out.
Yeah. I cannot open John's mic.
Because John's not here, man.
He is not
Okay,
there.
so tell me about this carnage here. While I was wrestling with my computer, the world fell apart. What up? What happened? Any idea? The S&P I'm looking at here? You can't see my screen, right? Yeah.
Yes, I can see your screen. And what I'm being told is that China increased tariffs.
Oh. So a plastic Ninja will now cost us $0.25 instead of 22.4 cents?
Yes. Yes, I believe.
Well, that's a good reason for the entire market to fall out of bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Averages fall 2%. Wow. Plus. 2% plus. Yikes. Well, boy, have we blown out our lowest weekly zone already?
I think we're getting down close to it.
No,
Let me go check.
We got a little ways to go. We've got like an ordinary playing field week. Well, half of one still to go. So I just throw it out there for everybody. I'm not going to say it again until Thursday. Lowest weekly trading zone this week. Top secret. Partner only information. If you're not a partner, put fingers in your ears. Go la 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 la. Okay. 2511/12.
And all right now, yeah, we got a ways to go.
Yeah.
John just popped in.
Okie dokie. Well, thanks for covering all the bases, Michael.
That is okay.
As you can see now, if there's anyone in the audience who has any different idea, and I'm going to ask John because I want to know more about that computer. That I shipped him a computer a while back that I found for him on Craigslist here, and I want to get some more information on that. But I'm going i7 chip. I'm going solid state hard drive, at least like a 250 gig solid state hard drive, and then maybe just regular 500 or no, probably a terabyte, just regular disk drive, because they're not that expensive. Because with that solid state drive, that if you boot from that one, then your computer comes on like an iPad. So I'm told. I've never had one, but I'm told that's how it works. Is you just turn the switch on, and it's like turning on TV. It's just on. And I would like that. In other words, when you want to reboot, when you tell it to shut down, guess what it does? It just shuts down. Right now, my down boot is about, I don't know, 15 minutes, and my reboot is about 10 to 15.
Wow.
And that's just wrong,
That is just wrong.
It's been a good box for what I paid. It's served me so well, and I should have. So I'm going to go i7 chip. I'm going to go with the 250 solid state drive, and then some kind of backup hard disk drive. I'm going to go 16 gigs of RAM, and what else was I going to do? All the fancy water cooling, radiator pipes and stuff. It just seems like trouble waiting to happen, doesn't it?
It seems like something else that can break.
These custom gaming rigs. There's a custom gaming rig that is so awesome. I'm kind of interested in it, but it looks like something from another planet. It's got all these different colored flashing lights everywhere, and tubes with liquid running through them. I mean,
yeah.
Under the hood, it's got what I want, and the price is right. But I've got to look at this. I guess I could just like drape something over it so I don't have to actually see it. But I don't know. The challenge is, and the kid said if I don't want to order from New Egg, because he's local here, he would meet me at a Fry's Electronics near me, and I have one that's only maybe a 20-minute drive away, 15-20 minutes. He says, I'll meet you there. We'll walk the aisles. We'll find every part that fits your budget, and then we'll go to your place or my place, and I'll build it while you watch, which is kind of nice too. So I not only get it built for $100, but I get to watch someone who really knows what they're doing
and learn. That's good stuff.
With that photographic memory I got. But there was one thing last night I was trying to figure. The fans, right? Your power supply, that's got a fan blowing. But these newer computers, especially these power computers like we're talking about, they have mini fans. Like the one I have now, I think has a total of 5 fans inside. While I could pick the hard drive, and I could pick the chip and the motherboard and all these other things, I would have no clue how many fans to get, where to mount them. That's where it would start to get tricky for me. RAM, you just pop it in the slot. It's not a big thing. So, anyway. All right, John, are you there? John's not there, man. John, did you open his mic?
No, I didn't open his mic. Let me open it up.
Ew.
Let me open it up. There we go. Now his mic's open.
John,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, John.
There he is.
Yeah, we can hear
Gotcha.
you. Welcome to the show. Sorry for the delay and the snafu and the whatnot. I'm still having computer problems, and I spent the weekend doing a lot of shopping, trying to find the guy who used to custom build for me is not around anymore, so I've been looking for a new guy. Tell me about that computer that I found you here in Phoenix and shipped to you. What was it that was special about that computer that you liked so much?
It had.
Can you bring up your volume just a little bit?
It had a card that can handle 5 screens, and I've actually expanded it out to about 10. As a matter of fact, I was just adding my 30th screen last night.
Oh, yeah, you got to send us a picture of this. Will you do that? Will you send us a picture sometime?
It's something to be believed.
Oh my
but
goodness!
I finally got everything I wanted, and everything was working perfect. And then I accidentally disconnected one of the screens, and I can't. It won't reinitialize. So the whole thing is absolute disaster because I could have made a fortune today and shorting this market. Did make some overnight. I went long all the grains on Friday, and I sold them. As a matter of fact, I watched that agriculture show on ABC during the night on Saturday night, going into Sunday, and these fellas were a bit skeptical about this planting report. And so when I got the sell signal right at the highs during the night, we got out of all the grains. We were long the gold. We went long all the golds on Friday. They all came in higher this morning, and they're right on their highs right now. Although I think this is a short-term sell in the gold, and I'm a little bit concerned that the platinum, we didn't go long the platinum. It's down, it's up a little bit, but it's, it's not acting very well, and the palladium is lower. So, and we're actually short the palladium, and we were long the copper too. So we had a very good day or night and today on the metals rather. And believe it or not, the grains sold off quite sharply actually. And so I don't know what to make of this move now. We'll have to see probably by the next dip on the grains. But and the other thing is the energy. The energy, we sold out of the energy right at the highs last week, and the energy is tanking, and so is the market. And
well, what's behind all of this?
Well, it's look, Trump has single-handedly managed to wipe about $100 billion off the value of Amazon. So I think he's really stuck at the Jeff Bezos. Maybe Bezos will change his tune a bit from now on, because he certainly lost this round. It's pretty amazing. I mean, this stock's down, and I thought about it, over as this was happening, and I remembered that if you remember, we sold Amazon. Amazon got to 1084 the first time. We sold it at 1083 and went short, and went all the way down to about 935. So I think it dropped about a little more than $100, and about 15% or so, 15 to 20. So these fangs look like they could come back 15 to 20%. I think a lot of stocks, including the semiconductors, are going to come back about 20%. And then remember what happened next. The fangs bottomed and they went roaring to new highs. And that's what I think is going to happen. In fact, I was just watching before the show came on. I saw these guys on the lunchtime show on CNBC, and they're all in a tizzy today. Some of them got out, which was smart, but there was a couple who still invested, and there was a bit of an argument there. But this is a classic case of the economy getting better, and the market and has been anticipating a better economy, a better recovery, especially during the last couple of years, and the economy is delivering right now, and the market is correcting, which is actually normal. If it wasn't Trump, going on about Amazon, there's probably something else would have dragged him down, because correction was pretty inevitable sooner or later. And
what is his big beef with Amazon? I mean, what's
well, he owns the Washington Post, and the Washington Post, has been, incessantly against Trump from day one. And
do you think that's why he bought the newspaper?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
Because that was a big
And I
question in
mean,
the beginning. What does a guy like Bezos want with an old school newspaper?
well, you got to be careful. You know, I mean, Bezos is the richest guy in history, and you know, certainly maybe not quite in history, because there's a couple of guys who might have done better, but he's certainly the richest guy in the world today. And you know, in just the same way as Obama sort of irked Trump back in 2011 and ended up Trump running and winning, you know, Bezos might be a contender in 2020. You never know, and he'd probably be a formidable opponent.
Has
you know?
he mentioned any political aspirations at all?
No, I don't think he has. But you know, he's of anybody. I mean, you know, the richest man in the world running for president. That's a first, and hasn't happened since George Washington, I guess.
We all grew up hearing, you know, if you live in America, if you were a child growing up in America, your parents or somebody always said you can be anything you want, even president. You know, I think we all sort of just took that, you know, with a grain of salt until Donald Trump got elected, and then we realized that, oh my goodness, anybody can become president. You know.
Yeah.
And
well, you know, I think when Obama became president, that's even more illustrative.
Well,
how a guy from
maybe
absolutely
you're right.
nowhere.
Now, has your approval rating of Trump changed any over these last few days or weeks?
Say again?
Has your personal approval rating of Trump changed in any way over the last few days or weeks?
It remains about 110% as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
There's not much this guy can do wrong in my book.
Okay.
And he's certainly hit a nerve, you know, because Amazon has destroyed a lot of businesses, and they are probably taking advantage of the post office. I mean, he's in fact, I mean, look, if Amazon has to pay more, they got to pay $1.50 more per pack, or even $2. You know, the people are going to end up paying. It's not going to be Amazon. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to hurt their business too much. But and remember, Amazon delivery in its own right is becoming more powerful every day against FedEx and UPS and the post office. So you know, I think, you know, what I think what people are not getting here, and I may be wrong, but I think it's worth airing the point. You know, it's almost impossible for the economy hasn't created 350,000 jobs for about 3 or 4 years. I think the peak of 2014, there was a couple of months where we saw a bit of a spike, and we also saw a brief spike in GDP. But when you take the shortest month of the year, February, and you come up with 358,000 jobs, and it pretty much says the economy is growing faster, not slower. It's probably north of 3%, and it could be 3.5%. And the Fed themselves forecast 5.7, 5.4% in the first quarter. You know, on a whim, they kind of dialed it back afterwards. But the odds of a surprise upside, because the employment has been very strong, and if it's if it's another 350,000 Friday, you know, we could be looking at 1 million jobs in the first quarter, and that's a tremendous run rate. So close to 1 million jobs. So I think, and here's the thing, you know, Netflix had a blowout quarter last time. So did a lot of the stocks. You know, Facebook went to new high, Google went to new high, Amazon went to new high. Amazon had a blowout quarter. To the odds of them having another blowout quarter, you know, remember, is very high right now, because if they're doing well in a 2.5% economy, as was the last, you know, the December quarter, which ended up being 2.9, imagine what they're going to be doing in a 3 or 3.5% economy. They're going to be making more money. And not only that, you know, there's 1 million more people in the workforce, more than 1 million more bodies who are buying stuff and, you know, getting things, you know, we're out of a job, they got a new job, they got money, and it's a big stimulus to the economy. So, and as I was saying last week, the odds are pretty high that come, you know, look, we topped out in January in the market, right at the end of January. You know, take 9 months off onto that, and you're talking about November. Well, November is the most important month of the year, and if we're hitting the sweet spot on voting day, and we're probably growing at 4%, which is possible, it could be even 5%. You know, the Republicans might not just get reelected, but they might win some more seats, and that would be totally unexpected. And as I also said, you know, Trump's approval ratings are actually going up because more people are coming around and saying, you know, he's got his idiosyncrasies, but, you know, at the end of the day, he's making a lot of things happen. He's shaking things up. And then, you know, if he pulls up a deal with North Korea, I mean, that's one major threat in the world, potentially eliminated or postponed. And if you can handle Iran, you know, at the same time before the year is out, that's 2. And if you can get back on track with Russia, that'll be 3. And if he fixes Venezuela, that'll be 4. So, you know, all of a sudden, all the threats in the world disappear, and the world's all of a sudden a whole lot better place. And I'll tell you something else that's going on. One of the reasons why we also, this came out on Saturday actually, but we felt pretty good because I actually bought gold again last night on you know, on more or less on the opening, and bought more gold. And the reason I did that was because the Chinese announced that they're going to start buying oil in yuan, not in dollars. Oh. So I hadn't looked at the yuan for a while, and I was shocked to see that it's rallied almost 10% off the lows or more. That means that China is now 10% richer than it was. It's actually on a kind of a comparative basis, it's almost 20% richer than the U.S. was, you know, a year ago. And because the yuan's gone up 10%, the dollar's gone down. So that means that China's buying power, it's actually good for reducing the deficit with the U.S. China's buying power has multiplied, and that means that a lot, you know, that the yuan goes a lot further in the gold price over in China. So all of these factors are very, very positive indeed for gold and silver. And since China is the biggest importer of oil now in the world, you know, buying all that oil in yuan is a pretty big deal. And as long as the yuan remains strong, it's probably a pretty smart move on their part. So, and especially if the dollar continues to fall. So I think we're at the beginning. I mean, look at the way the metals are rallying here. I did say that, you know, there's going to be one of these days, going to be kind of an explosive up move where we go near vertical. And if we gap higher tomorrow, we're probably going to have a pretty big day. And before you know it, we probably 1360 or 1370, and maybe over 17 on the silver. And I think getting back over 17 is a pretty big deal. And getting over 18, 19 is slam. You know, it's just we're in a whole new kind of a market in the metals. Now,
yeah, I'm told if silver goes back over 17, I'll be able to sleep in the house again.
Okay.
Yeah, long story. I won't go into it, but yeah.
All right. Well, look, the other benefit. Now, here's the way this all weaves into the market. I think, you know, look, we did say there might be another 87 scenario building for this weekend, because the market finished, that late sell-off on Friday was very ominous, especially the way Apple got clocked right on the close, and a few other things. And the gap down today and this sell-off down 500 is obviously very, very bad, and it is reminiscent of 87, Black Monday, because right now we're having a bit of a rally, and you know, they're trying to nip this in the bud. If they do nip it in the bud today and they can somehow reverse this market back up, then I think it would be very positive. However, the risk of Tuesday, you know, at least coming in lower and maybe even lower than where we are right now, and we're getting down to our targets of 22,000 and 2450. Got about 100 points to go on the S&P, a little over 100 points, and about 1,500 points on the Dow. So it could happen. And but I if it does, and this will be probably before the show tomorrow, if we come in and you see the market is maybe around 10:30, 11 is looking like it might turn up, I'd probably take a shot at it, because that might be the low, and there could be a monster rally off that low, and that could extend into Wednesday and Thursday. We might have a retest on Friday, or because of the jobs numbers or some other factor, we could actually, finish the week a lot higher, a lot higher off the lows. Not necessarily a full reversal, but I wouldn't rule anything out. The potential for a monster reversal here is very real, because you could argue that the $1,500, $150, $200 loss in Amazon is kind of like a fleeting moment in time, just like the last one. And I would expect this bottom, I would expect a bottom this week of sorts to develop, possibly a rally next week, and then maybe one more bottom in mid-April. And then after that, I think we're off to the races. And what might make us go off to the races is some shock, some extraordinary earnings results, that blowout earnings that cause, instead of being down 50 or 60 on the day, Google will be up 50 or 60 on the day, and maybe Netflix up, 50 or 100 or something. And you could have an absolutely massive rebound. And I think the next rebound is, aided possibly by a weaker dollar. So you have the next rebound will be, and remember, if the jobs number comes out and it's 350 or higher, that's probably going to tank the bonds. That should be bullish for stocks. So higher interest rates will be embraced by stocks, a lower dollar, and lower bond prices. All of these three things should be very supportive of stocks, and we could be in for like a 3-month rally of extraordinary proportions. That could take this market up to new highs, and possibly exceptional new highs. I'd say it could go to 27,750, and if it takes that out, it could extend right up towards 30,000. Now, other interesting thing is this is just lost my train of thought for a second. This is extremely important. Well, I think it's going to be a run for the roses. So you'll see all assets, metals, stocks, the works, all going up together, powered by a weaker dollar. And the weaker dollar, remember, weaker dollar is bullish for stocks, because stocks become more expensive in devalued dollars. So, and this is the symptoms, these are the same symptoms that created the conditions for a 30% rally in 87 once the second quarter corrections were in. And that's what we're in right now. We're in a kind of a carbon copy, but we're running ahead. We're running about a month ahead of the 87 in terms of time. and we bottomed around May 20th in 87. So April 20th, by the third week of April, if we're coming off the lows in a meaningful way, that should be pretty good guidance that we might, the fireworks may be about to begin. And look, these tax cuts and all the other things they're doing, and maybe the infrastructure bill, another thing that could put, be very bullish for the market. And then don't forget, then you got the Korean thing in May. There'll be a lot of anticipation of that. So there's plenty of things that can help the market go higher off this next low. And oh, I knew what I was going to say. This is very, very important. This is probably the most important thing I was going to say. The fear index, the fear greed index, CNN, has gone from, remember we were probably at 90 something percent plus greed, extreme greed, sometime in January, or and by the end of February, we're like at extreme fear. And what's interesting is, even though the market rallied up, to this secondary high that we had, and in some cases new highs, the fear index has remained very, very negative. And right now it's about minus, it's right down like minus 95% or something. It's extreme. And so now you're
referring to the VIX?
No, it's a thing. If you Google CNN Fear Greed Index, you'll see it.
Oh, it doesn't have an actual symbol or anything.
No, it's a thing that they update. I think they update it every
this is
day.
What the VIX looks like right now on the VXX on a daily.
Yeah, look, I mean, you can never look. You got to be. Even though the market looks terrible today, you've seen stranger things that happen. I mean, could we go positive today? I wouldn't rule anything out, because they're probably doing everything they can to try and nip this in the bud. Because if we close down, 500 or more today, or even 1,000, I mean, it doesn't bode very well for tomorrow. Just plain and simple. It's sort of a rerun of 87, and it might be. We could go down 1,000. Look, we could go down 700 points today. We could go down 1,000 points tomorrow, and next thing you know, we're at 22,000, and that's probably going to be the bottom. So, we're here. Our D-Day's arrived. The scenario that Garrett, you and myself outlined a few weeks ago is happening. It's been a bit topsy-turvy the way it's happened, but it's basically happening. And, we've talked about it last week, where the space that it did rally up a bit into Friday, but then it sold off. And here we are today, trying to rally, and probably, we're going lower. If we start rolling over between 2 and 3 this afternoon, run for the hills. You got to be short, and you got to be long the VIXs, because the VIXs, in order for a real bottom to be put in tomorrow, the VIXs are probably going to have to gap higher and go to between 60 and 75. And actually, if the VIX only got to 63 or 64 by tomorrow, it would be making a kind of a double top versus the previous lows. But the fact that the market went to the previous lows and the VIXs didn't go to a new all-time high, or new century high, would be very bullish. So it would be potentially a divergence, positive divergence. So and also the metals are probably, you want to be maintain a long position, because if we do sell off this afternoon in the markets, the metals could spike up a lot overnight and probably into tomorrow. But they might actually, if they got up to 65 or 70, 75, they could actually turn around and sell. So you might see a spike in the metals at the same time the market bottoms, and then there might be a bit of a sell-off in the metals.
This has been one heck of a climb since the open last night on gold. I mean, it's really done a
Yeah,
nice job.
no, it's been great, and it's you know, this feels like the real deal. And especially when we're going up against palladium and platinum. Although, you know, if we see platinum get above 940, I'd probably want to take a shot at going back long, and especially if it got back over 945 or 950, probably means we're going to have a big run. And if also if the palladium turned up here, you know, maybe about 930, 935.
You mentioned grains earlier, and I didn't have my soybean chart up, so I'm just now seeing this activity since last night. What was your comment again on that?
Well, I watched that agriculture show.
Yeah,
and they
what
had a couple
show
of
is
good
that?
guys.
I'm not familiar with that.
It's called Agri Week or Agricultural Week, something like that.
What channel?
This Week in Agriculture. It's on ABC down where we are.
Okay.
But This Week in Agriculture. But it's a lot of times I don't have too much to say, but I thought they'd make a comment because of what happened. And, you know, so far they've been dead right. They just said, you know, I've taken a shot a few times at going long, you know, near on the close on these grains, because a couple of times in the past, I've you know, grains have come in $1,000 higher in some contracts. And last night they didn't do quite that well. The beans, you know, $400 or $500 per contract across the board. And you know, I was happy to take that, and you know, because I was long all of them. I went to beans, wheat, meal, soybean, a whole lot. Oats, I even went along oats. And you know, I actually thought they'd do better than this. This is turning out to be a bigger pullback than I expected. But I would watch for a turn, because and it could even happen, you know, near the close today. Although you know, another thing is the grains are probably getting dragged down by the market as well. Mm-hmm. So you know, maybe the grains will be a buy tomorrow morning, you know, mid-morning, if the market turns. The last time this happened, the grains were weak, and then the market turned up, and then the grains took off. So it may not be an instantaneous thing, but sometime between now and the close tomorrow, we'll probably see a chance to get back in on these grains. And the next move might be quite a surprise, quite an upside surprise again.
Let me ask the audience a trivia question. Now, this is, you're going to have to think back a few years, folks. Who is the one person that I'm aware of that used to read the boring agricultural report during the television broadcast of that particular television show, which was a comedy, by the way? I'll give you 5 seconds. Name that, here's your hint, radio announcer. 5, 4, 3, 2, nobody? Les Nessman. WKRP in Cincinnati. Remember that show, John? You might not have watched it.
No, I never saw that.
Dr. Johnny Fever. Oh gosh, what were the other guys' names? I mean, they had a perfect stereotype. Like, they had the cheesy salesman who sold their advertising, and then they had Dr. Johnny Fever, the long-haired guy who played rock albums at night, and Les Nessman was the nerdy, wear a bow tie, read the agriculture report, as he would read it, you know, like an exciting novel on the air. It's amazing. I'll have to go watch some reruns of that today. All right, go ahead. Sorry, interrupt.
So that's kind of the scenario as we see it right now. Remember, we've seen, you know, we've had a couple of sharp tests like this before. You know, we've had 500 being down 500, cut it down 300. I mean, being down 200 on the Nasdaq, we're down 150 now. So, you know, you know, if we got back, if we ended up being minus 100 on the Nasdaq before the close, I would consider that to be, you know, halfway to a reversal. And again, you know, if we cut the S&P losses back to about minus 30, you could have one of these amazing overnight recoveries. So you have to be. Look, we're probably going to know the answer to this. Is if this thing rolls over this afternoon and really tanks, then we're probably in for a pretty scary day tomorrow, and maybe even a scary close today. You know, we might be down more than 1,000. So it certainly gave up its ground pretty rapidly this morning. You know, it got down minus 500 pretty quick, minus 550 or so, you know, in just a couple of hours, 3 hours.
I normally do this, John, right before you come on, but let me just take a peek over here real quick. I want to refresh this page, and I want to share with the audience. We can see what's happening here in America right now. Currently, the Dow is down 510 points. NASDAQ's down 167. That's well over 2% for both of those. S&P 500's down 58, 2.25%. Russell 2000 is down 26 points. It's 1.75%. Now, if we jump down to the Asian markets, okay, the Nikkei closed down 65, Shanghai was off 5, and the Hang Seng was up 70. So we don't seem to have a global contagion going on there. And I guess most European markets are closed for the holiday.
Yeah, well, this is the other. This is kind of dangerous because the problem
they won't have a chance to weigh in until tomorrow.
Yeah, they're going to open with a massive downside gap of epic proportions.
And so, now, do those stops that are in place, do they get hit overnight? I mean, will they get hit when the market opens? I mean, probably,
yeah.
So that'll just drive it. So those stops
you know,
getting hit are not factored in yet. Okay.
Yeah, we're set up for a mini Armageddon here. You know, there's no, unless they nip it, unless they nip this in the bud today, it's curtains. You know, it really is. But I think this is going to be the closest thing to an 87. And I always said, you know, we're going to get what I call 87 light, and I think that this is. I mean, look, on a percentage basis, it's nothing like 87 yet. Okay, but look, if we do lose, you know, a little bit more, maybe another 120 points in the S&P, and 1,500 points on the Dow. That's easily doable between now and tomorrow. And if that happens, you gotta really plucker up the courage to go in and take a shot at it tomorrow. And I'll, assuming my system's back up, I'll do the best I can to give some guidance on that story. But if it starts, you know, if you see the market start to turn up, you know, it's actually probably it's going to be like that Friday. February the 9th, when we came in, and I said there was going to be a monster rally, a rally to end all our rallies, and we may have another one tomorrow, you know, and possibly another one on Friday. So,
you know, I really thought this S&P was going to bounce up to that area I have circled on the chart. So I put out a live radio trade. Consider buying 25.90 up to 25.95, then turn around and sell 25.92 down to 25.86 if the opportunity presents. But this bounce out, this would have represented a 38% retracement right up to this area, and we didn't even get that. We didn't even get a 30.
The market's acting terrible.
That's a heavy market.
Semiconductors are in dire straits right now. They've been giving up a lot of ground ever since the open, and this is a really and this is a sneaky kind of a thing, because it didn't really kind of unfold until about 6 this morning. You know, just that's, you know, they didn't kind of give too much of a clue during the night. In fact, I was surprised. I really thought the market would sell off more early in the night, almost right from the get-go last night, and it didn't.
It was actually kind of quiet. It was pretty quiet around the open.
Exactly.
Now, Karen just typed in, I read that Trump is to unveil the China tariff list this week, targeting tech goods. I would think that's a negative for the markets as well.
Well, not necessarily, because it's already out there. So the market is anticipating it, it's factoring it in. So sometimes it's sell the rumor, buy the fact.
Yeah.
So,
is that putting pressure, you think, on the semiconductors today?
Say again?
Is that putting pressure on the semiconductors today?
Well, I think it's that, Facebook, Amazon in particular, Google, the FANGs in general, and there's very little green at all out there today. It's really a big deal.
Although I haven't read up on it, I've got to believe that there is a conspiracy theory floating out there somewhere that Facebook, from the beginning, was some kind of CIA or deep state or Russian sting operation. Because imagine if the government had asked the American people for all of the personal information that they've shared over the years on Facebook, there would have been rioting in the streets. But because it was presented as a good thing, something that will make your life better, people willingly gave information, willy-nilly, to the point of, people lost jobs, people didn't get hired because of their social media profile. But nobody put a gun to anybody's head to put all that personal private information on the Facebook. Am I right?
Uh-huh.
And we all grew up hearing it preached about the mark of the beast, and you're going to have these numbers in your hand or on your forehead in order to buy and sell goods. Wow. I mean, we grew up as kids terrified of the day that happened. But you know what? Even in the Deep South, even in the Bible Belt, when the debit card came along and the credit card came along, which put numbers in your hand that allowed you to buy and sell goods, nobody complained about that, did they? Swipe and go, swipe and go. So it's all about perception. It's how you perceive things. And now, folks, I'm not saying that Facebook was a CIA conspiracy or was a CIA sting operation. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I got to believe that based upon the evidence, there would certainly be ample. There's more evidence for that, I think, than there is for this whole stuff falling from the sky. I don't know. Speaking of stuff falling from the sky, did that Russian, was it Chinese? Did the thing?
It went down in the Pacific.
So it didn't disintegrate on reentry.
It did. Okay. It ended up in the Pacific. Yeah.
Okay, and then Bezos had a boo-boo. Tell me about this nose cone that was supposed to land in a net.
I don't know what happened with that.
Well, I don't really know either. Maybe somebody in the audience does. They can type it in. But they launched a rocket, and it had some $6 million nose cone that once they took off, the nose cone was supposed to separate, and it was supposed to land in this huge net they had stretched out somewhere in the ocean, and it missed the net. And so they lost their nose cone. Anybody in the audience know about that?
Yeah, it was Tesla. Or not Tesla, no. SpaceX.
Yeah, SpaceX. Now, Karen also says she was agreeing, but she was with what she had said earlier and what you said about the China tariff on the electronics or tech goods. She says, right, just thinking funds, and I'm thinking she's thinking of big funds, I would guess, wouldn't want to buy tech stocks ahead of that. You know, even if it's baked in and they're aware it's coming, they probably might want to wait and see how hard it's going to hit and how people are going to react before adding. But, you know, the first day of the month is usually, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the first day of the month usually an up day?
It's been a pretty good, for quite a long time in this, yeah. It's been good. Not always. Sometimes it can be a test,
Okay.
You know, it could be a test
right.
day.
Okay.
So, well, listen, thanks very much for the invite,
Yeah,
Dwayne.
yeah,
We'll see how
thank you.
hopefully in 24 hours we'll be in better shape.
Yeah, tell me again real quick now. The computer that I found for you and shipped to you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What
No,
was
look,
what was about it again that was special?
well, it was a kind of my one had dual Xeons, and it had twin Xeons. It's a pretty good machine. It's been great.
Now the dual Xeon.
What I was going to tell you is, if you can stretch your budget, Dwayne, I'd go to an i9. i7 is kind of vintage processor right now.
I did not even know they had an i9 out, because when I went through Craigslist, there was not a. I'm gonna real quick.
No, it's a new generation of chips that just came out in the last few months, and you need to consider. They've got 8 core 16 thread, 10 core 20 thread. They got 16 core 32 thread, and then they've got an 18 core 36 thread. That's I think it's a 980 Extreme. That's the most powerful chip on the planet right now. Intel chip, that is. That is an absolute monster, and actually it's what I'm getting from my new system here pretty soon.
Can you see my screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would go for 24 or 36 gigs of memory. I don't think 16 cuts it. You definitely want more memory, and other than that, you'll be in great shape. And a multi-display if you want to have more than one display. An i7 will do the work you probably want, but i9, there's a whole family of them, and obviously an 8-core 16 thread chip is a big deal. It's like having eight chips, I guess.
So a new egg to buy an i9 chip. This can't.
Yeah, see that 7980. That's the one. I think that's the most powerful one there.
John, the chips alone are $1,000. This is a $10,000 chip.
$1,889, $2,000. But
wow.
Unfortunately, my system. I put an i7 in my system, and it can't handle it.
Well, yeah, but i7 is so powerful. I mean, most people, ordinary folks that don't do all the kind of crazy stuff we do, can get by with an i3. i5 for sure. I thought i7 was, a real bad boy.
Look at that Intel Xeon. Now, the machine you got me, I got Xeons in there. They're not as powerful as that thing, but look at the price of it, $10,000 for that.
Here's an i7 7800, 3.5
6
gig.
core. That's not bad. 6 core.
Okay, so that's $400 right there, just for the chip.
Yeah.
Did you have solid state drives in any of your machines?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's a good. You need a solid state, for the boot up, and a bigger drive.
How long does it take your system to come up with the solid state drive?
It's pretty fast.
It's not as fast as an iPad. I said earlier it's fast as an iPad, but it's not quite that fast.
It's fast. I haven't timed it, but it's fast.
Yeah. Okay. $1,800.
Yeah. Have a look. Okay, that's one not a bad deal. That 921 deal that I know. That's a pretty strong chip. That one there.
Let's take a look at that one. Skylake. I went in and I zoomed in on one page the other day because I couldn't see it very well, and now every page comes up. Now here we go. Intel i9 10 core 3.3 gig, and then here's the different options. Wow, 10 core 20 threads. Now, this has got to take a special motherboard, I guess, compatible with Intel X299 chipset motherboards. Cooler.
If you've got a guy building it for you and who knows his stuff, I mean, I'd ask him about an i9 and see what he says.
I mean, when I got my i7, I mean, that was like state of the art. You couldn't get any better than i7. But that's been, I don't know, 4 years plus ago. So
yeah, no, this is a quantum leap higher than anything previously. This stuff, this is you know, this will keep you going for a few years.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to do something. So, well, thank you for your time today, John.
Okay, much obliged. Thanks for the invite.
Anything else at all you want to cover?
Only the energy, which is right now getting clocked, but probably could turn as well tomorrow. You know, when the market turns. But right now the market's very dangerous, very, very dangerous right now.
Wow! Oh my goodness! Look at that crude. This is the first time I'm pulling up the crude chart since last night. Gosh. So we sold off from 60. Let's see. Last night on our email we said to consider selling crude at 65.05. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So one thing that might be a ray of hope, I haven't seen the breadth today because I'm not able to get it. But, you know, if the breadth is not too bad. Like if the breadth tomorrow, if we sell off really big time overnight, and the breadth is, you know, minus 2,000 or minus 1,900, that's probably that's a buy signal, because the first hit we had, the first sell-off we had, I think went minus 25, minus 24, 2,500. That's about one of the worst days we've had in a decade. So the fact that we would go, if the market's lower tomorrow and the breadth is not as bad, that's a really potentially strong buy signal. So it's worth keeping that in mind.
So we had said to consider selling 65.05, and we dropped all the way to...
Yeah, it was a good, another one of these great nights when, you know, as I said,
that's a $2 move.
One thing you can bet the house on, or certainly the odds in your favor, is almost every sell-off that we've had since I've been back on the show, as you've caught one way or another, and a lot of them start overnight. And so here's another. This is one of the best ones you've ever had, I guess.
One of, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know, and thank you very much for becoming a part of the show again. It's really been a pleasure. I look forward to our chats every single day. I really do.
Thank you, and likewise. Thanks for it's a pleasure to be on with everybody.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Okay. Guys, is anybody in the audience? Let me mute John's mic for him. Anybody in the audience have an i9 chip? I actually did read something the other day, just briefly, but I thought they were saying it was coming. It was on the way. And I just know the second I go out and lay down $900 for an i9 chip, they'll go on sale tomorrow for $300. Guess I could save my receipt. I don't know. Wow. All right, let me give you those numbers again from around the world, as I do, just so we put all things in perspective with what's happening in the U.S. And because a lot of the European banks are closed today for holiday, and it's going to be rough tomorrow, as John suggested, I think, because this will be their first, you know, they'll walk in and see these markets down horribly. Crude oil is off $1.63, 2.5%, trading 63.31 last. Gold is up $17, which is 1.25%, trading 13.44.30 last. In the U.S., the Dow down 543 points, NASDAQ down 193 points, S&P 500 down 64 points, the Russell 2000 down 28. And in the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei was off by 65, Shanghai was off by 5, and the Hang Seng actually added 70 points. In Europe, the FTSE traded I show it being up almost 12 points. And then DAX and the CAC closed for the holiday, I assume, as they both remain unchanged. I did give you an opportunity earlier to grab a copy of the screenshot if you would like. Let me give you another opportunity. Now, there are a select group of the inner circle who, for whatever reason, do not currently receive the Concierge Trade Alerts on a nightly basis. And I sent them to you last night. You might not even know you got them. Look in your inbox. I sent them, and there's a note up at the top that says, by the way, I realize you don't normally get these alerts, but I just thought I would send them to you tonight so that you could just watch them trade over the evening session, Globex, and into tomorrow. And when I do the recap on the radio show, then perhaps it might give you a better idea of what's actually available, and it might, you know, stimulate some questions. Well, what about this, and how do you do that? So if there is anyone in the audience at the moment who has those particular questions, then if you want to type them into the chat box, feel free. If you want to email me, that's fine. If you want to set up a mentoring session, we can do that. And I think we managed to walk through them all, so we'll do it again. Well, let's do crude while we're here. The alert on crude said to consider selling 65.05. If you got tagged in right here, then good chance you were stopped out here. But if you got in here, important prices, important areas are almost always tested. And so this was a $2,000 per contract drop on crude. On the S&P 500, important prices and important areas are almost always tested. We said to consider selling 2637. Get a 3-point drop, back above the trigger, a 5-point drop, back above the trigger, an 8-point drop, back above the trigger, just barely, which led to a 68-point drop, $3,400 per contract available. We never get out at the swing high or swing low. Why? Because we trail our stop. And when you trail a stop, you'll always leave a little bit on the table. I posted this live radio trade as John was talking. This candle was building. Okay, I wanted to see us get to 25.90, buy it on a stop. We never got there. Traded up to 95. This would have been a 38% retracement from here to here. It rolls over, and so then sell it on the way. You know, don't just park in order to sell it up here. Take your profit, and then on the way back down, sell 25.92 to 25.86. Just a beautiful, you know, little trade. But the market had other ideas, right? It gave us a 27 or 24% retracement. Spiked that, but it didn't trigger. I wanted to get triggered at 25.90 and trade it to 95, and we just didn't quite get there. We got to 25.88.25. So doesn't look like this is going to happen. Now, some might wonder, well, what if it holds here and then we rally up again? If we don't go any lower than this, then yeah, those same numbers would be viable, but we could also probably come up with something a little better at that point. So if something catches my eye this afternoon, I'll tweet it out. On the Dow, we said to consider selling 24,110, and we dropped 610 points. 610 points available per contract. At $5 per point on the Dow, that's $3,000 per contract available. But again, we don't get out of the swing high or swing low. We always leave a little on the table. On the Russell, we said to consider selling 1526. You had an opportunity there, and you know, some back and forth, and then it pulls all the way back up to that old zone, and that's where the bottom cuts loose, right when Wall Street opened. And we end up dropping 30 points, $50 per point, $1,500 per contract available. On the NQ, we said to consider selling 64.90, drop 100 plus points at $20 a point. That's roughly $2,000 per contract. Gold, we said to consider buying 13.38 if the opportunity presented. This first run up was good for a couple $100. Price gets back below the trigger. Off we go again. And now we're up to almost 30, what's the high? 1346.70. Let's call it 46. So I guess we're at about, now we're at almost, we'll call it 800 plus. Now, for those of you who got the alerts last night, who don't normally get the alerts, there's got to be a whole lot of questions. And if you don't want to jump into it right here, that's fine. Like I said, you can email me. You can set up a private one-on-one mentoring session. Just go to cfrn.net/. Yeah, let me put it in the chat box. That's probably better. Did I do that right? cfrn.net, Emini personal mentoring. Got it. There should be this week, I said there should be a press release out on the CT Global token, trading symbol CTG. Okay. And that press release will be the announcement of open market trading. And it looks like we're going to open higher than what we did at the pre-sale. As you know, during the pre-sale, we were trading at $1 per token with the, you know, with the bonuses. And it's because of those bonuses, primarily, it's two-pronged. Because of the bonuses, the tokens sold during the pre-sale do carry a 6-month restriction from trading from the date that your cert was printed. Okay. However, the good news is we don't have a long time to go. Now, not everyone did their buying on the same day. It was staggered, and that's good because, you know, as those become free trading, you really have to ask yourself, you know, where am I big picture with this? How many opportunities have I had in my life to really do something extraordinary, something spectacular, something like, you know, well, we're not Apple, and I'm not comparing us to Apple, but once upon a time you could buy Apple, I remember, because I was looking for a place to put some money, and I didn't put it in Apple. So I'll never forget that how much Apple was trading for that day. It was $12. Okay. Yeah. Those $12. If the money I had at the time, had I put it in Apple at $12 a share, when I leave this earth, they'd probably be building libraries with my name on them. But yeah. And back when we were talking about Bitcoin, you know, back in what, 2012, 13? Yeah, if we'd all kicked in $100, we, well, we'd probably be somewhere else today. But no sour grapes, no spilt milk. We just keep pressing on. All right. So, press release will come out. Open market trading will begin, and I would certainly hope at that point that everyone has moved their tokens to a secure hardware wallet. And then your job as an ambassador really begins, okay? And we talked about this before, during, all along. We've talked about this, okay? There are 2.4 billion Christian consumers on planet Earth. 2.4 billion. Yes, some are babies, some are older people. How they do the numbers, where they do the head count, it's just the officially accepted number. Okay, we talked about this last week. If 10% of them wanted to buy one token just to, you know, put it up on the shelf, so to speak, that would require 24 million tokens. And if 1% wanted to do that, that would require 12 million. No, how did I get my numbers wrong? I better go to my math sheet. It's been a rough morning. I did the math. Let's see. 10% was 24 million. 1%. You've only had a cup of coffee today. Don't be so hard on yourself. What do you think? You scroll down to that thing where I did the math. And I realize Easter's behind us, and I hope you had a great Easter, by the way. And if you didn't read the little piece I wrote, my homily, my annual Easter homily, it's on emini.cfrn.net. Okay. Yeah, okay. Of all the Christians worldwide, if, just say, 10% wanted to buy a token, just one. Now, I know many of you own hundreds, and many of you own thousands, and some, I think, tens of thousands, but if 10% bought one token, we would need 240 million. If 1% bought one token, that would be 24 million. And if only half of 1% of all Christians in the world, half of 1%, only wanted to buy one token, that would be 12 million tokens, and we would be 11 million tokens short, because there are only 1 million in existence. Today and forever. So we have sort of the best of both worlds, in that we're not diluted, much like Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett has never diluted his stock. Hence, it trades today at over $300,000 per share. Well, since this rout of late, I haven't checked the price, but the last time I did check, Warren's stock, because he's never diluted it, never split it, over $300,000 a share. Microsoft, on the other hand, has been split more times than I can imagine. I don't even know what price Microsoft trades at today. It doesn't matter. But I'm sure some smart math guy could go in and figure. No, I guess you really couldn't figure that, because people who bought. See, the reason people split the stock is to get the price back down to being affordable. I won't go into the long explanation of that, but most companies, as their stock becomes very expensive, they'll split it so that it's affordable. That's how the S&P 500 E-mini came into existence. The big S&P 500 contract on the floor, the value of it got so high that half the traders standing in the pit couldn't even afford to buy one contract. So they split it. Or actually, it takes 5 minis to be the equivalent of what used to be one, full S&P 500 contract. All right, so we've got the best of both worlds in that we have the Berkshire Hathaway model, no dilution, but we also have the Bitcoin model, which is fractional ownership. So even though there's only 1 million tokens, we could have 10 million or 100 million token owners. So as this press release comes out, as I'm able to release it, that says, yes, we are now trading on the open market, and here's where you go, and blah, blah, blah. If all of those who participated in the pre-sale do as they were instructed to do, behave as they promised to behave, and go the extra distance to simply put the word out. You don't have to become a salesman. I know you're not a broker. You can't, I'm not asking you to do anything that you shouldn't be doing, other than tell people, yeah, I'm part of Christian Traders. Yes, I have cryptocurrency. Well, yes, I do own some Bitcoin and some Ripple, but I also got some CTG that I put away. Oh, CTG, well, tell me about that. Yeah, just go to ChristianTraders.com. You'll find everything you need to know there. And if you don't find it, just email them or call them. support@ChristianTraders.com or 949-423-6464. And we'll have someone who will explain to them what's going on. Now, this is what I want you to dwell on. When that press release goes out, and as people around the world, keep in mind that we're in a bit of a cocoon here. I mean, we have a large global following, but compared to the globe itself, we're fairly medium-sized fish in a really, really large pond. So we'll have an opportunity over a few weeks to a month to get the word out and to just share with people. I mean, my goodness, how many people ran down to the convenience store this past weekend to buy a lottery ticket? And the odds of them winning was something like 1 in 7 trillion, I think. And I'm certainly not comparing this to a lottery ticket. I'm just saying that people spent the buck or whatever lottery tickets cost these days for a 1 in 7 trillion shot at winning whatever the prize was. Here we're talking about, investing in something that I really do believe is high probability. I think the odds are in your favor. I don't like talking about odds because that leans towards gambling, but if you've read Mark Douglas's book, which if you're part of the inner circle, you've read it and maybe listened to it, you know that when a person walks into a casino, they're walking into a place where they know they're about to wager their hard-earned money in an environment where the odds are stacked against them. Mathematically, it's not possible for you to come out ahead in Vegas. Mathematically, you're always going to lose unless you get lucky. Oh, we found out a long time ago, lucky's not a great trading strategy. Having good luck, I guess that's a great thing, if you can forget that it comes from the root word Lucifer, but that's a sermon for another day. Hope and prayer, great things, just not good trading strategies. And so, with that said, probably the day that the press release comes out, I will, if possible, email everyone the night before that the press release is coming out. And so, I mean, I've had a lot of the folks who participated in the pre-sale who have come to me since and said, I know the pre-sale's over, and I know we haven't gone to open market trading. Is there anything I can do? Well, what do you mean? well, I'd like to add to my position before whatever's going to happen happens. If that's you, I don't know, call me and we'll talk. Everybody's situation is individual, but this is a big event for this week. And so start thinking about who you know, not just down the street or at church or at work. Do you know somebody who lives in Uzbekistan or Iran or Spain? Now, I know a lot of folks in Africa, and I read last week, and I think I shared with you, that millennial Africans, that would mean young adults in Africa between the ages of 18 and 35, I think is the definition, are considered millennials. They are some of the fastest adopters of cryptocurrency on the planet. And I know I've told you that when I first went there back in 2003, everybody had these little cheap flip phones. These were cell phones, but the old flip style. The smartphone hadn't even come out yet. And you could buy them at these roadside stands for $8. And then you go to the next little stand and buy a card that allowed you to put minutes on that phone. And those minutes became a form of currency. Because a large portion of the world, they're called the Great Unbanked, they don't have the proper documentation like a birth certificate to prove who they are, and they don't have enough money at one time to make the minimum deposit to open an account. So according to the World Bank, I think something like, is it 70% of the world's population doesn't have a bank account? The Africans figured it out, and they solved it with these little flip phones. So you can see now why the millennials, they grew up with that. They grew up watching mom and dad, pay the electricity bill and buy groceries with the cell phone. So for them to gravitate into cryptocurrency, it's like a natural thing. It just makes sense. So will I be reaching out this week to each and every individual that I know in Africa who is involved in ministry and orphanages and these other types of things, and letting them know what's going on? Yes, I will. And do you think they will in turn be contacting the folks that they know in the U.S.? Because most of the people I know there who are involved in ministry, they all have just like Pastor Chris and Agnes at New Hope, they have a Dwayne and Anne Marie back in the States. Every one of those that I know in ministry there, they have their Dwayne and Anne Marie back in the States. Someone who sponsored them and helped them and guided them and done projects with them. So this is like a viral spread, and I can't do it alone, and Michael can't do it. No one person can do it alone. This is a community effort. Again, you're not suggesting that someone should invest in anything. You're not a broker. You're simply telling them what it is, what you did, and if they happen to have any interest, they could go to ChristianTraders.com and learn more. That's it. Now, I'm going to create some simple little document. You could print it out like a flyer, or you could just simply copy and paste it and send it as an email. Okay? And it's just going to be some real basic information. Cryptocurrency, what is it? Who are we? What have we done? And where do you go for more info? ChristianTraders.com. So once I make that available to you, then you can feel free to use it. Don't add to it and take it away, because I'm gonna make sure that it's something from a regulatory standpoint that it's okay to say, right? And so just use it as it's written, hand it out, send it to your friends. If you know somebody in foreign countries, see, this is where we really want to get a foothold. A lot of these foreign countries where many of the people depend upon money coming from other countries to exist. And the cost of these transactions can sometimes be quite heady. And cryptocurrency, one of the things it does is it takes away the middleman. Takes away Western Union, takes away PayPal, takes away Visa. It's peer-to-peer. Okay? And, oh, okay, great, we saved $9, big deal. You better believe it's a big deal, because in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa, $9 will feed a family of 4 for a week. Feed them real good, if you know what I mean. So, that's the news. That is news. Let's see. I got a couple questions. Hello, Crypto Dwayne. I need a superhero outfit. Crypto Dwayne. Did you get my email on Friday asking how you want me to send you my Nano S address? Neil, I think what you have to do is you have to transfer your tokens from your My Ether wallet to the Nano S. I don't think I can send them directly to the Nano S. Now, if I'm not correct, and I'm certainly willing to try it, if maybe you've come across something, researched something, read something, email me again. And I did miss your email on Friday. Guys, I missed so many emails over the weekend. I forgot that we had all of these activities, family things going on over the weekend. One, sadly, was a funeral. My wife's Uncle Bill, who was a Phoenix police officer his whole life, well, a large portion of his life. He's been retired for a number of years. God finally called him home. And so there was just stuff Friday, stuff Saturday. So I'll be playing catch up on email for a few days. And so if you sent me something important, just go ahead and send it again. Just say, hey, Dwayne, I heard you were behind on email. Here it is again. Boom. And that will be at the top of my list. Frederick says, will there be a minimum number of coins people will have to buy when on the open market, or can they buy just one? Well, I'll answer that question with a question. No, I won't. I won't do that. What's going on here? Help me. Come on. Man, look at that gold go. When you go to the order book, you will see what is for sale. Just like if I could get something to open up here, which I thought I did. Yeah, there it is. I got it. Now, okay, here's 20, or here's 30 contracts for sale. Could you buy one of those? You could, because you don't know if that's one person selling 30 or 10 people selling 3. You follow me? Now, the order book on the cryptocurrency exchange, some of them might even operate differently, so I'm going to have to look into that aspect. But the way I see it is people put up an order for sale of 100 or 200 or 1,000. They price it out per token, and then that gives you the total amount to buy that order. So I think what you would, here's how that would work. Okay, I'm just thinking through this. The way it would work, Frederick, is, let's say 3 people were trying to sell 100. Okay, you could go on the bid side and say, well, I only want to buy 1, and this is what I'm willing to pay for it. And then one of those sellers might come over and match your buy order. So you look at the order book, there's a bunch for sale, but none are the quantity that you want. So you go on the bid, oh, well, I'm willing to pay this price for this many, and then you just need someone who has tokens for sale to come and hit your bid. So I thought it through. That's how it works. Yeah, Neil, shoot me an email and I'll be happy to help you with that, okay? And Frederick, did that answer your question? Because I guess the ultimate answer is, if somebody's willing to sell you just one, then yes, you can buy just one. Because you'll go into the order book and you'll broadcast to the world, hey, I want to buy 5 tokens and I'm willing to pay this price, or one. And somebody might come in and hit your bid and you get filled, or they might not. You know, that's just like even with the stock market, that's the way it goes. Any other questions, guys? Because I think we got, let's see, we covered the ES. Look at that thing. Oh, look at that thing go. Now, I told you at the beginning of the show, and I normally don't, but 25.11, 25.12. This week's lowest weekly trading zones. And if we get down here by tomorrow, I would really give thought to the market possibly rising by Friday. Doesn't always happen, but it could. So this is this week's lowest weekly trading zone. What we got? So about 50 points that we could drop. All right. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Sorry for the bumpy start today. Get it right. The new computer will help, for sure. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.